Hi, welcome to the Four Dragons Institute and welcome to the Daoist Distance Education page. The distance education is a product of all the years I have training all over the world in Taoism. So who am I? I am Lao. Simply Lao Dalong. It was a name given to me by my master as I grew up over the years in Chinatown in San Francisco in a temple. When I left the temple right before I was 18 years old, I decided to travel the world. I traveled the world studying with many different cultures because I wanted to understand this ubiquitously vague thing called Tao. What is Tao? My master would always tell me, I can't tell you. I can show you and point you the way, but I cannot tell you the way. You have to directly experience it for yourself. So through many years of training growing up with meditations and negongs and different things like that, I came to understand that the only way I was truly going to understand this is if I got out and did it, if I got out and moved. And so that's what I've spent my lifetime doing. Over the last 2 decades or more, I've spent my life traveling the world through Southeast Asia, China, the Himalayas, the Hindu Kush, the Arabian Peninsula, Europe, South America, Africa, all over the world looking for people and experiencing this thing called Tao. I wasn't seeking, as most seekers do, looking for the answers to something, because I was always trained to believe there are no answers. You simply must understand the question. What I didn't have was what a really good question for all of this was. What I've come to understand is that there really are no questions. There's simply something called observation. We must learn to observe. A Daoist temple uses a different character than a Buddhist temple. A Buddhist temple uses the character si, which is like a place of worship with holiness and all of those type of things. But you get the ostentatiousness and the columns and things like that. But a Taoist, the symbol is guan. Guan is different in that it's more of an observatory, more of a place to observe things. And so in my years of studying with Sufis and Sikhs and Jains and Gnostics and Kabbalic rabbis and different people like that, and all the different indigenous tribes that I've studied with, what I was looking for was not, do they have an answer, but how do they live their answer? How do they live their way, their Tao? And what I've learned is that to truly understand Tao is to truly understand yourself. There's a very interesting quote that I read a number of years ago with a teacher that I'm quite fond of, and he says, in one of the Taoist scriptures, he pointed out that the study of the Tao begins in the heart. And to truly understand our heart is to truly understand the Tao, because we and the Tao are not separate. We are, in fact, not two. But what's very important and what must really happen within ourselves is that we come to understand our nature. This course, the Daoist Distance Education, is about teaching people how to come to learn to understand their nature. But the hard part isn't the understanding. It's learning to allow and accept it once you do. There are different ways that people approach the Tao depending on the different ways that they approach their life. You have the philosophers and the scholarly types and the people who do things more cerebrally through mental processes. You have the martial artists and the more physical school, which includes medicine, and the people who see the interconnectedness of the body and the organ systems, or the interconnectedness of the internal conflict that happens in the martial arts. You have the people who want to sit and do the inner alchemies, alchemizing that which is base into that which is priceless, and taking and extrapolating that all the different ways, as they say, turtles, turtles, all the way down. And then there's the mystic school, which basically takes ration and reason and throws it out the window. And then there's the herbal school, and that school is based on learning how to put together formulas to always fit the context, because that's what Tao is. Wang Chongyang, the progenitor and founder of the Complete Reality School, once wrote in one of the scriptures, he said, to serve all sentient beings equally is the great Tao. That's what this distance education is about learning to serve all beings equally. But what does that mean? Well, here at the Four Dragons, what that means to me specifically and my disciples and students that study with me already is what you need is what we will do. It is no better to be the mystic sitting on the mountain like this, or to be the martial artist sitting in the metal position like this, or to be the mystic within your heart, sitting in a bus terminal. What matters is that you do it. It doesn't matter how you follow Tao. It only matters that you follow the Tao. That's what this place and that's what this course is about. Learning how to follow the Tao the way that you do. If it's artificial or contrivance, then it is not Tao. It is called mind. It is your way. It is contrivance. It is artifice. But when we learn to effortlessly do what we do, not contrive, not for approval, not to be observed, but because it is who and what we are, then we have found what the Taoists prize most, which is called Wu Wei. Wu Wei is that thing which is effortlessly ourself. But first, you have to have permission to be yourself. Second, you have to be okay being yourself. This is not trying to be superior in this ordinary world, but it's learning to be ordinary in a superior world. This takes inner cultivation. This takes absolute commitment to being who and what you are. The Daoist Distance Education isn't like a normal theosophy or a theology course where you learn cerebrally these things and maybe you apply it. This is where you get dirty. This is where you get deeply into yourself. The things that happen here in this course, they're not easy, and it's not for everyone. If you're somebody who likes learning about things, who likes dressing up in cosplay, who likes having this sense of excitement about it, I tell you that this is not really the course for you. This course will test you. This course will take the deepest parts of yourself and will put it on display for you to see. And you will have to make the choice. Can you say yes to it, or will you say no? If you say yes, you will go further and deeper, I promise you, than you have ever done anything in your life. If you don't, there is no mandate to say that you have to or you're not a good person. There's no sin involved with this. This isn't going to condemn you to hell. It just helps you to know one of the most vital things that every mystery school, no matter what continent or what era or what culture, teaches. The first and most important maxim is this: know thyself. To know thyself, to know your heart, is ultimately to know Tao. How deeply you want to go is completely up to you. This course is designed to help you to understand it. I'm your guide. As I have been through it, I will walk with you. I cannot walk for you. I will not walk for you. I will open a door, but I cannot tell you what to see. I will only show you what you are there to see for yourself. It's up to you to say yes or no. That's what this course is ultimately about. So regardless of what propensity you have, or what expectations, or what assumptions you have, I can tell you, if you come at this with an open mind and an empty cup, I promise you will get more than you can possibly imagine. There's a community involved in all of this. We have online things. I travel, and I can definitely make it out to different locations and have one-on-one personal time. But all that will be predicated on how much are you willing to put in. That's what's important. What are you willing to do for yourself on your path? Because the Tao, while we have a community, must be walked individually, and you will only go as far as you're willing to walk. I am here to be a guide, a mentor, and a teacher, but I can only go as far as you're willing to go. In Taoism, we say, how far should the teacher and the student walk? The answer is simple: far enough. I'm willing to go far enough. Are you? If you are, please don't hesitate. You have a section right below. Simply put your information in. You can ask for more questions. There will be an application that you'll fill out. Upon filling out this application, we'll do either a Skype or a phone conversation for an interview. And from there, we'll decide whether this is a good fit or not. At the end of this training, the ordination is possible for a Taoist priest, a Taoist monk, or a wandering Taoist. A Taoist priest takes all they learn, all that they gain in their skills, and then applies it to everyone around them to help them and to help them to learn to live within the way, as much or as little as they need. A Taoist priest's most hardest task is learning to let people struggle, to love people enough to allow them to struggle, and to learn to love the mess. A Taoist monk is a bit different. A Taoist monk takes vows, and the mandate is to the work itself, to go deeply into the work, to go deeply into what does all this mean, to experience it directly, to become the lab, to become that which the Tao can use to give a direct transmission to. It is not an easy decision, and I promise you, those who go into that will eventually begin to teach. They'll begin to teach other priests and other monks, because you can only go so far teaching, and then you'll have to pass that knowledge on to people in more direct experience. Your knowledge will only grow by your ability to understand the concepts and the fundamental ground of it. And finally, there's the wandering Taoist. The wandering Taoist takes vows to no one but the Tao itself. And where the Tao goes, the wandering Taoist follows. I can tell you personally, having been a wandering Taoist for many, many years, what I can tell you is it's a very difficult path. It is not one filled with certainty. It is not one filled with concrete assuredness. It's one you must come to rely on your intuition and be willing to follow wherever the Tao goes. And it will flow wherever it goes. And it can be some very strange, very tumultuous places. But in the end, out of personal experience, I can testify to you, it's always worth it. Well, I've taken up enough of your time, and I'm so grateful that you came here. If there's any questions, please, you can email me at lao@fourdragonschool.com. Until then, I bid you Wuliang Shofo, heaven's blessing upon you, and peace in the Tao, Tao on. Thank you for coming to the Four Dragons Institute.